Welcome to Around the Nation, the show where Cowboys content creators come together to discuss and fuss about our Dallas Cowboys, hosted by me, Skywalker Steele. Let's meet today's panel. Y'all crazy, man. Starting with Brandon. What up, B?
What's going on, Sky? How you doing? I'm blessed to be here.
We appreciate you being here, man. Jeff, what it do?
I'm drunk. Hey.
And of course, Voch Lombardi, ladies and gentlemen.
Finally, Voch has come back to DC Network.
And Space Cowboy. What up?
Man, what's going on here? To keep it real as always. I can't speak.
Don't stumble over your intro, dog.
It's all good.
Gotta plan that out.
It's all good, my brothers. It's all good, man. If y'all could see the behind the scenes, this was an entire showing of this damn show, honestly. But it is what it is. We're here, man. We're ready to go, ready to rock. Let's do this thing. And Jeff, you done hanging up everything?
Well, no, I got to hang it up, but I marked the spot that's right in the middle, but then I got to measure the back of the picture that goes in the middle to see how far up from there I got to go to the hanging point, and then I got to hammer it in, and then
So you got a whole project after we're done here.
Then I'll put the screw into the anchor, just youtube.com/Jeff Cavanaugh Home Improvement Channel. I'm going to be doing a lot.
some Mark Holmes type
That's what
stuff.
it is showing the madness.
I want to tell Jess to shut up so bad, but let's get go. Come on. Whatever.
Let's get this thing popping. All right, man. Let's kick this thing off with the Cowboys' first round selection, Micah Parsons. Now, the Cowboys traded down, picked up an extra third round pick in the draft, and then landed one of the top defensive players. Now, that was a dicey move there. If you listen to Cowboys fans, a lot of people, there was some backlash. For me, I was all right with it. For a lot of other people, it wasn't such a move that they were in favor of. But it's not about me today. It's about y'all. So I want to get y'all overall thoughts on the pick and how do you think they will utilize Micah Parsons in this defense. And we'll start from the top with Brandon and we'll work our way down. So B, Micah Parsons, your thoughts and how do you think they'll utilize him?
Technically, I got what I wanted. I was captain trade down from the day that we were talking about the Cowboys at potentially the fourth round pick.
Wait. Jeff is captain trade down, sir.
Hey, look.
You're Brandon from Franklin football. Jeff is captain trade down. What are you doing?
Do you not remember the talks about shooting dice, preferably in the bathroom?
I get that. Right brick on my brick. I get that.
Whoa. Jeff capitalized on it. I wanted it to happen.
But captain trade down is
Fight.
okay, sir. Captain trade down is a noun. Like it's not what was captain trade down at first? Like a adverb or whatever. Like Jeff, you and Jeff can't be captain trade down. You got to be. I'm Brandon, and I wish we would trade back. Just like I can't be captain trade down. I'm right brick on my brick. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever. So be you.
For every Captain America, there's a Winter Soldier. Right?
That's fair enough. Do I get points for this? Scott, do we get points?
No, not yet. When we get to you, we get you the points. By the way, when y'all hear this, that's a point.
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead.
Let's see if we get Brandon some points. I'll give you a point just for Voch just interrupt you there.
I love it.
Never.
So technically, I got what I wanted. It may not have been to the degree that I was hoping, but the Cowboys traded down and we took Micah Parsons. Now, he may not have been my most favorite player. He may not have been my second most favorite player, but we did pick a player that supplied a need. He was the best run stopper, and the Cowboys were a team that did get 300 of them things put up on us on the ground. So here's the thing about Micah Parsons. He's on the team now. So it is our job now, this panel of us, it's our job to figure out how he fits into this puzzle of us winning the Lombardi.
So how do you visualize them using them?
I think that he's kind of like Jalen Smith without the injury. You know, that's kind of like how I visualize him. So I think that he's going to A, stop the run, and B, be able to move laterally. So we can help with mobile quarterbacks, unlike someone who wears the number 54. And and also, against some of those more run-heavy teams like Cleveland. So that's how I can see us utilizing Micah Parsons against some of those run-heavy teams.
Indeed. Hey, Jeff, what's your thoughts on the pick, man, and how do you view his utilization this upcoming season?
I wish they would have taken Rashawn Slater there. I would have felt better about that. But the added third-round pick and the fact that they knew how much work they had to do going forward on defense, that they wanted to spend 6 in a row off the top, I think that's going to pay dividends. So I ended up okay with picking Micah Parsons. And the way that I think they use him is when they are in a 3-4 base, which we need to stop calling that base. We need to start calling that the 3-4 and just call nickel base, because your base means what you do a lot of, and everybody runs nickel more than they run their base. But when they're in base, I think he'll be an outside linebacker. So he can rush the passer. He can chase around from the backside. He can do all that stuff. And when they are in their nickel, I think this team knows they got to get 54 off the field. So I think Leighton Vander Esch will be your Mike, and Micah Parsons will be your Will, and Jalen Smith will be watching football.
Indeed. All right, Mr. Voch Lombardi. We know how you feel about the pick, but just let us know again, and then how you think we'll utilize Micah.
So I can't be phony, man. I wanted Rashawn Slater. I can partially. Oh, so listen, man. Listen. Not real talk. I wanted Rashawn Slater, man, but we got wiped out. You know what I'm saying? It was pissed for me. Horn, Sewell, Surtain, those dudes were gone. So you really had one job there. We traded back, got the extra pick. That helps. I hope Golston ends up being something for that damn pick that we traded back, but we ended up with Parsons. Now, how we talk about guys pre-draft and how we talk about a post-draft is totally different. Pre-draft, because this don't change for me. He's still like my third-ranked linebacker because I don't think he has regular Mike traits. He still got that mental processing problem, right? But once he's on my team, I can go, okay, I can see this dude bringing us pressure from here. I can see us lining them up in different low places or whatever. 3-4 is more so of a mentality than an actual formation. So he can go all up and down the line, blitzing from wherever. I was doing some film the other day, and I was like, man, some people thought that he was going to get sacks like Von Miller. That ain't true. He's going to get sacks like Devin White. He's going to be blitzing A-gap. He's going to be doing some gap exchanges, B-gap stuff, while Randy Gregory and D-Law, Randy Gregory with a full offseason, by the way, Randy Gregory and D-Law are going to be doing outside things. So if he can give us 9 sacks from the middle, then be like better run game guy, I don't see a place for Jalen Smith to exist here. If we would have drafted a guy like Nick Bolden, then maybe Vander Esch would be in more trouble, like, because he's a more Mike linebacker for me. But if we talking about just a downhill player, just a pass rushy dude, Parsons is probably gonna get Jalen up out of here.
Good stuff there. Space. Think about Micah Parsons in the pick.
Oh, I love the pick. I mean, here's the thing. I'm a bit biased because I'm a Penn State guy, so I love my Penn State guys. So, but getting to the whole selection, you trade down. That's the best thing you could have done because either way you were going to take him. And I feel like value-wise, you definitely should have gotten more from Philly, though. You could have definitely fleeced them because they really wanted Devontae Smith. But either way, getting a third-round pick to move down 2 spots, fantastic. In terms of what Micah Parsons brings to the table, I think this is a warning shot at Jalen Smith. And I think Dan Quinn gets the guy he wants to build around and really train up and to be his linebacker. So if we're looking at it in the sense of him building up the defense in Seattle, it's supposed to be his Bobby Wagner, but I feel like he's going to be more of a Devin White type of impact, which I don't mind having on my team. As we know, Jalen Smith has been a liability over the past couple of years, and I think that, ever since that injury, he hasn't had the same type of play since then. And I think, as we've alluded to, he does give those traits, that being Micah Parsons, similar to what Jalen Smith had when he was at Notre Dame in his prime. But, it's crazy how fast Micah improved at Penn State. He played linebacker for not that long, and he won best linebacker in the country in 2019. So this man could definitely improve. Just give him some time. And I think that he's going to be one hell of a player if he reaches his max potential.
Yeah, that's a good point. Go ahead, Voch.
Something else too, though. One more random thought. Vander Esch, ever since coming out of Boise, he wasn't really deal with blocks very well, guy. And Jalen Smith is a guy that runs around blocks. Just watch a little bit of film on Parsons. Parsons feels comfortable dealing with blocks. So even if we get just a little bit better, we was the worst defense I've ever seen. So if we just get a little bit better, we get to like 20 something. That'll be fine. That'll be good enough for me.
Wasn't it you guys that brought it up? I think it was on Scoutcast how we got a bunch of will type linebackers. We really didn't have that middle linebacker on the team, which is why I kind of was still in the running for Nick Bolton in that second round. But we ended up getting another linebacker, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But I think it was on Scoutcast y'all talked about that, Jeff.
That's a good show. Yeah, it's a good show. It is interesting that they don't. It is interesting that they really don't have a mic because like Leighton Vander Esch is probably your best mic, but the mic has to absorb more contact from offensive line than anybody else, and every time he absorbs contact, his spine gets narrower. So that's probably a terrible idea, but they just don't have one. But I mean, a year from now, whatever, you'll figure out who's Mike, who's Will, because the two linebackers that are going to be on the field are the guys you drafted this year.
Hey, and that will be a segue into a later part of the show. But we're going to move on to the next part of round one, the opening drive. And it's about Dan Quinn, y'all. He had his press conference, and he shed some light on a lot of different things in that press conference. I mean, we could have a whole show on that damn press conference. But one of the things that he talked about was length and was traits. And I don't think none of us had a problem with getting, as you would say, boss man fat, right? And getting Micah Parsons in round one and round two. It was that weird, wacky third round that everybody was getting a little like, whoa, what's going on here? And what they were talking about in that round was length and traits. So I got to ask you guys, should we be concerned that they went with traits per se over play in that round, or is that just part of their process from now moving forward? And I'll start with you, Jeff.
I think the idea that you're drafting traits, look, there's a reason that those traits exist. Like there's a reason that people want football players to have long arms. You watch Oso Digizua, you watch Chauncey Golston, you talk about those third round picks, and you see why it exists. They're both violent run players that it's hard for offensive linemen to keep a hold of them because they have long arms and they know how to use leverage. So the one that I have a problem with is Nashawn Wright. When you had somebody like Ifeatu Melifonwu on the board, Elijah Molden on the board, who went right after, because length is fun, and I understand the idea of length. Because here's the idea. The idea is you're playing cover three, right? So the longer my guys are, the tougher it is to throw over the top of them. Now, inside of those little three deep areas that you have to throw, now I'm going to have dudes that can fly around. So, like, the idea is solid because you're trying to cover the entire field. The idea is to cover space. But covering space isn't just how long you are. It's a combination of how long, how fast, how quick, how instinctual you are. And Nashawn Wright has run the slowest short shuttle in the history of Pro Football Focus, measuring it at corner.
Wow.
So it doesn't matter how long you are. Elijah Molden covers a butt ton more ground than your 6'4" super long arm guy because he's quicker, because he diagnoses quicker. So the idea of length is awesome. But when length comes without speed or quickness, it's a problem. So hopefully the Cowboys are right and we're wrong, but it kind of hurt me with that Nashawn Wright pick because there's two corners I liked considerably more that went right after him.
You just definitely did not sell me on Nashawn Wright. I mean, I didn't even come up with my observations yet, but good Lord. Voch, man, this length, this trait thing, is it concerning moving forward that they took certain players I think everybody, right? Consensus, that was reach. Most of those guys were reach.
So Jeff said Nashawn Wright twice, and he got 2 points. So I'm just gonna say Nashawn Wright. So like the
made points with Nashawn Wright.
The one thing that Dan got to do, bro, is just don't get cute and be better than Mike Nolan, bro. And having a plan is already just a little bit better than Mike, because if you just look back on how we looked last year, you know, guys like Dorrance were just like, he's just there, but he's just behind D-Law. And this guy is here, and I guess we can play Tristan there, but it really wasn't really a good fit. So as draft fans, and you know we are pure draft people here, as draft fans, the picks were maybe a little too rich or whatever, but they fit. They fit. If they fit, and if Dan Quinn knows exactly where they're gonna go and we get better from it, then it is what it is. You know, value only matters prior to the draft. Not that they're here. We just gotta see what. Hey, Diggy, you are one of the best run stopping D linemen in the league, in my opinion, or in the nation, in the draft or whatever, right? So I could wait till the fourth round and somebody snatch you up at 99. Now I'm sick, but if I know that I'm deficient in run defense, and nobody's moving Digizua, and nobody's moving Bohanna, and Chauncey's a run guy, it sucks that we got to reach for these dudes. But if you look at the roster now, I can look at Dorrance and be like, I don't know what the hell Dorrance Armstrong good at. I know what Chauncey's good at. You know what I mean? We don't know if Neville is necessarily going to be a good two-gap or run stuff he got. I know Osa can. So with that plan, with that context, I feel a little better. But draft dude in my mind, I hate it, but it is what it is.
So you fighting yourself there a little bit because you
Indeed.
draft guy.
Indeed, 100%.
Space, man. Are you a little worried about this trait length thing here, or are you okay with it knowing that Dan Quinn came out and said this was the plan?
I'm cool with it because either way, the way I like what Dan Quinn's been doing as opposed to Mike Nolan, he has a plan of what he wants to do with this defense. That's all I care about. Because if you have a plan going into this draft and you assemble your draft board in a way of, hey, these are guys that we really want to fit, no one's going to give a damn where you pick them if they pan out. Now, if Nahshon Wright ends up not being the value in which you really were thinking he could be, then we're having a big-ass problem.
Yep.
Okay. But, like, in a way I look at it at this draft is, like, if you replaced Jabril Cox with one of those third-round picks, and like the perception is reality. So, like, if we took Nahshon Wright in day 3, no one's going to care. I think because it was on day 2, we were like, what? Like, what are you doing?
Right.
But either way, I understand that coaches have their preferences. We saw with Rod Marinelli how he likes certain defensive line guys. Dan Quinn's going to have his guys that he likes, and that's just how coaches are. They want to get guys that fit what they want to do. What differentiates this from the previous administration is we're not just going strictly for need. We're following more or less what the board says. If Micah Parsons is the best defensive player on the board, we got to roll with that. And we saw this happen last year, and I think that as we get further into the Mike McCarthy era, we're really going to start seeing a trend emerge where I think they're really going for somewhat best player available at certain when it makes sense.
That's what I find interesting. Last year, y'all, it felt like we were going best player available, and then just 1 year later, it's like, nah, this is how we're doing it because we want long guys, so we're putting our board this way. In reality, on just about anybody else's board, they're really not best player available. It's best player available per traits we want for this team. And that's not really best player available. It's what y'all call it, window dressing, right? That's what y'all call it in the draft world.
I think if our defense wasn't so horrible, then it would be BPA. It was so egregious. We just had to get run defense. My bad, Scott. Go ahead, Brandon.
No, right. Yeah, B, what's your thoughts on this?
So I think that it's not bad that the coaches knew the type of player that they wanted and went after that. But, you have to ask yourself, is the third round too soon to pursue that? Osa Odigizua, and I'm hoping that I'm not butchering his name.
No, you're right.
He's the type of guy that will go up, grab a guy by his collar, and shove him into a locker. That's great. We need that when we're stopping the run. Chauncey Golston, he is the second coming of Tyron Crawford. He can play all up and down the line. We need that. Great. Satisfies a need. Nahshon Wright, it kind of makes you raise an eyebrow. A people's eyebrow since Voch is really into his wrestling bag lately. When you have guys with very similar measurables in Ifeatu Melifonwu lately, since they're really big on height and measurables, wingspan, things like that, very similar and much better skill set. Let's be totally honest. So that was the pick that when you sent me the topic, the word worried stuck out to me. That's the word that I put in quotations. That's the only pick that worried me.
That's fair. That's fair. And I think everybody can agree that Nahshon Wright, I mean, he could be a Pro Bowler. But we're just talking about draft day. That was just a bad pick, man.
I screamed out. I'm like, who? It's like that Snoop Dogg. I mean, like, who?
And I'm not going to lie to you.
Though?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Scott.
No, I'm not gonna lie to you. I haven't watched like 10 games of Nahshon Wright or anything, but it just from consensus, Jeff did the show with Dane and Brian, and y'all watched all these players. Jeff and Voch, was Nahshon Wright anywhere on your boards in the top 150?
Nope.
No, but I'll tell you this: to be fair to him, it's because he wasn't higher on Dane's board. Like I have to start somewhere when I'm watching players, and so I'll look at Dane's list, I'll look at Zerline's list, I'll look at different people's list. I got through about 170 guys this year, and because nobody else had him that high, I hadn't seen him. I think he's better than people are saying he is. Like, he wasn't some 7th round guy.
Sure.
If you'd have taken him in the 4th or 5th, I think that's where he fit. I think he's a good college player that's an intriguing project for an NFL team. But that's a day 3 thing. That's not a day 2 thing.
That's not a day 2 thing.
But yeah, but like I said, like if we swap the Jabril Cox pick and the Nahshon Wright pick, I think we would have a completely different perception of this entire draft.
That entire round, I was saying that during draft day. If you gave me the 4th round, those guys in the 3rd round, and then flipped it, and not Osa, I'm cool with. It's the other 2. I'd be like, cool. But if you view it that way, you should walk away with this fine. What's up, Voch?
It's something that just bothers me though, bro. Like I would rather people just say I've never heard of this dude than saying this dude sucks. Because if you look at some of the national people, if you look at sorry ass PFF and all them and all the little ranking joints or whatever, they're like, oh, he's the 330 something ranked player. Well, that just means they not watching film. That just means they clearly haven't seen the player. If you watch the player got traits. The player can cover. He ain't the best, but he's like a 5th or like a 4th round or so guy. He's not the 350 some odd player or whatever. I would rather you just say you never heard of. That's what I was so proud about us though. This crew of people here, instead of us saying, "Oh, I know everything there is to know about Nahshon Wright right now," we collectively said, "Never heard of dude. I will get back to you."
That's exactly why I said, hey, I leaned on. I had to listen in. Did Jeff hear about this dude? Did Dan hear about? Did Brian? And everybody collectively was like, no. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to go back and watch. And everybody, Jeff, Voch, Brian, everybody did their homework and they came up with, okay, this guy's not the 300th best player on the board, but he is a 5th round, 4th round type of guy. And we'll see what happens. That doesn't mean it wasn't a reach. I think we all still believe there's Moldens on the board. There's Melifuanu's on the board. If you want to take a DT, I mean, it's just a lot of players that were still there. I think we all would have been happy with.
Sure.
Nonetheless, man, y'all ready for buy or sell? This is one of my favorite segments of the show.
Buy or sell.
And we talked about earlier a Jabril Cox. And Dallas double dipped at linebacker with Parsons and Jabril Cox. And I think they complement each other very well, Voch, Jeff, Brandon, and Space. And for me, and everybody knows me knows I'm ready to move forward with the linebacker position for a number of reasons. But this ain't about me. This is about y'all. And they went and got a guy who was a 2nd round type of talent. They got him in the 4th, probably the steal of our draft. And then they got Michael, who we all agree is one of the top defensive players in the draft, period. So buy or sell Jalen Smith and LVE not being on this roster in 2022. And Jeff, I'm gonna start with you because you kind of already talked about it at the beginning of the show. Buy or sell that Jalen and LVE will not be on this roster after this season.
Yeah, I buy it because the NFL, it's about sponsors. And Jalen Smith, then the tough part about Jalen Smith is his sponsor is the owner of the team. So, like, that's big time. But, like, Van Der Esch, you don't have a sponsor anymore. They made that clear when they didn't pick up your 5th round option. Dan Quinn doesn't care about any of these guys. You think you pick 2 linebackers with technically the Cox one isn't a premium pick, but the fact that they wanted him at 99 and Dan Quinn won over the scouts and got to pick his corner, but they still managed to get their linebacker. Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox are Dan Quinn guys. Assuming that Dan Quinn isn't an absolute train wreck and he's here next year, his guys are going to be the ones that play. And this is the world when you pay your quarterback. Once you've paid a quarterback, you need to get as many cheap, good contributors as you can possibly get. And they're going to have them. They're going to have a 1st round pick and a 4th round pick. And a year from now, those will be your starting linebackers. Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith will be somewhere else.
You said something on Twitter. You was like, your linebacker position is going to look like, or it'll look like Cox and Parsons plus cap room. I love that. Yep. Because that's what you're going to get. It might be. Voch.
And give me a point.
Yeah, you got a couple, bro. Voch, Jalen Smith, LVE, buy or sell them not being on the roster in 2022.
I'm buying that mess, man. Brother Steve came out and said, hey, look, we want some of these young, cheap folk to take some jobs. And Jalen Smith and his contract and his sunglass hut thing that's posted up at the start. So we're going to knock all that little mess down. Jalen going to be gone, player. And Jalen's deal is relatively team-friendly, but it's still costly for what you're getting back from him. So when I look at Jalen and Van Der Esch and even Neal to an extent, I mean, Neal can come back because he has a sponsor, right? I look at those guys as like bridge guys now. Micah's not going to be the man day one. Jabril's not going to be the man day one. But afterwards, I would say about week 11 when we see Jabril can like cover the slot for real, and we see Parsons then got about 7 sacks or so. Hey man, look, I just got one word of advice for Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith. Scott, get your hand ready for that button. Don't get hurt. Because if you do, as ball game player, we're going to move on quickly.
He lying. Go ahead, Space.
I'm buying it because to start things off with Leighton, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so this signals to me he's done. Yeah. And they're gonna just look. You're gonna try to get a comp pick out of him. That's what's gonna happen. It's gonna add to the comp pick formula
Give him his point.
Because someone is going to pay him some money to give you a comp, whether it's between a 5th to 7th rounder. You're going to get one. And so to start off, he's gone. As for Jalen, when you look at his contracts, 2022 is when you get the potential out. So you can cut him pre-June 1st, and you would lose $1.8 million. But that's bearable. If you're looking to save money, and we know Steven loves his precious cap space, so you know damn well he's getting ready to kick Jalen off a goddamn bridge to get his money back, you'd be saving $9.2 million by cutting Jalen after June 1st. And so the way I look at it is, hey, with Cox and Parsons coming in here, that's the end for both of them. And as for Keanu Neal, even if he's only here for a year, just to kind of help with that transition period, they're going to bring other people in here, whether it be in the 2022 NFL draft or in free agency in 2022. I'm sorry, Jalen, Leighton, you're out. And Dan Quinn's got his guys, and he's not afraid to, not even just those two, anybody is pretty much on the block.
I'm really intrigued to see if Neal can stick around after this year at linebacker. I'm really excited to see him, man, because I'm thinking about it. Neal, Jabril Cox, and Micah Parsons, that's a fun, athletic group of linebackers right there. Brandon, your thoughts here. Jalen Smith and LVE not being on this roster in 2022 by or sell. Can we get a clean sweep?
Dogecoin, fam.
What's that?
I'm buying that more than Dogecoin, man.
There you go.
Jalen Smith been listening to Benny Siegel "Feel It in the Air" for the past week. I think that it's not due to lack of skill that Leighton is, on the hot seat. I think that his body's just betrayed him.
That's good.
Before I really got into this YouTube thing, right? I remember listening to one of Voch's shows. And this is right when Infinity War came out. He talked about seeing Leighton come out with a cybernetic neck, coming over riding a dragon, coming over as we ride into the sunset of the postseason. Yeah. And it didn't happen. Yeah. And I think Stephen Jones saw that too. And he was like, yeah, fam, I ain't feeling this. And we saw his displeasure with that by publicly stating that, we're not picking up that 5th-year option.
Question then, buy or sell. Voch says this. If Van Der Esch plays, because 21 games, because it's just one. So if Van Der Esch plays from week 1 to the Super Bowl, leads the league in tackles, what do we do? Sky?
Oh, we let him go.
Collect that 3rd-round pick. Hurt people don't just stop being hurt. Somebody said this to me. When the players show you who they are, believe them. And I feel like LV's shown me. When he's healthy, he's amazing. But the problem is when he's not healthy, he plays, he's not good. It's a difference between LVE and Sean Lee. When Sean Lee was off the field, it was felt. When he was on the field, whether he was hurt or not during his prime, he was felt. When LVE's off the field, it's like, he's off the field, we could use him. But when he's playing hurt on the field, you're like, dog, you get off the field. You're not good. You're not that good anymore. So I'm good off LVE. I'm ready to move on.
I think you're more likely to keep LVE if he gets hurt. Because he's gonna be worth nothing to anybody. If he's worth nothing to anybody, then he's worth keeping around as depth on the cheap. But if he plays really well, and like the entire league is like, holy cow, that's a really good linebacker, Steven's gonna be like, how much does that cost? Yeah. No, I'm good. But if he gets hurt and he's super cheap, he might be your 4th linebacker.
Give him a point. Scott.
You know what? If Voch wants to get a point, we'll give him a point, Voch.
Thank you, Voch.
But Jeff, don't you want to
overtime on
the stench of the Garrett guys?
What's that?
I wouldn't do that to LVE.
The stench of the Garrett guys.
If he can play, it don't matter.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to LVE.
Yeah, I think. To me, the appeal of Leighton Van Der Esch isn't as a starter; it's as a backup. Because if you're a backup and you don't have to play all the time, you have less chances to get hurt. Yep. But I have a better chance of having a decent player ready to play if somebody else gets hurt. And I don't mind Garrett guys, depending on what you think Garrett guy means.
Yeah.
But I really believe in Jim Garrett guys. Jason's dad. because Jim Garrett, when he was scouting for the Cowboys, is the one who said, "This ain't the Boy Scouts," and tried to get him to pick Randy Moss. So I believe in the Jim Garrett guys, just not the Jason Garrett guys.
There you go.
It's funny because I actually talked about LVE when we drafted Parsons and we drafted Jabril Cox. I said LVE should technically play the veteran Sean Lee role, where you're only going to roll out there for about 15 to 25 snaps max, really 25 snaps a game. And if he's healthy, he's going to give you 110% of good play at those snaps. But the 60, 65 snaps, Dunzo, man. He's proven he can't do that and play 16 games. He's only played in 10 and 9 games the last 2 seasons. When somebody shows you who they are, believe them. And that's just how I feel.
Stay hurt.
And it's worse than when Sean Lee was getting hurt. He's missed more games to start his career than Sean Lee has ever had.
Yeah, absolutely has. All right, let's move on to the second part of buy or sell. And it's with boss man Fat Kelvin Joseph, who is obviously a panel favorite here. I mean, Jeff and Voch, I'm not sure about Brandon and Space, but y'all have been advocating for him. And when he got drafted, it was kind of exciting. When he was drafted on this channel, I'm pretty sure, and I already seen Voch's crazy reaction when that happened. That should go viral. But let's be real, man. To speak a little bit more objectively about Kelvin Joseph, he's only played 15 games, right? And in this room, this cornerback room, it's already kind of green when you look at the boundary. It's really Trevin Diggs and I guess you can say Reggie Robinson. I don't know if you want to call him a corner anymore, and a couple of those other Savion Smith type guys. It's a green cornerback room, in my opinion, and he comes in very green. So buy or sell. Kelvin Joseph being the game 1 starter or slowly being worked in the Trevin Diggs angle like he was last year. And Voch, we'll start off because that's your man's.
I mean, we'll normally have some Nolan Carroll type character up in here. Who was the guy last year? Daryl Worley. We'll normally have one of those characters run out here. Nah, man, boss man Fat A1 day one, bro. It's gonna be him. It's gonna be Diggs, and they're gonna be good to go. And I don't want people sleeping on Diggs, man, because Diggs did very well against Julio Jones and Metcalf and Luke Hopkins and all those guys. And I think that Kelvin Joseph as a prospect is better than Diggs as a prospect. That's just my own personal opinion. Now, I know there's the off-field stuff, but I just don't want people to overreact on the off-field stuff. Like, yeah, it's something to think about, but if you think about, like, all his teammates love him, and that's really what we need to be worried about, right? Because Mike McCarthy may or may not be here, you know what I'm saying? So it's all about, can he get along with his guys? Even the LSU guys, look at him on Twitter, shouting out Stingley, shouting out Jamar Chase. He's cool with all those people, man. All the UK players talking about some boss man. Look at boss man Fat. So he's a team player guy. Plus, in my personal opinion, on my personal board, he was my second ranked corner way before we drafted him. He was my second ranked corner, 15 player overall. We got that dude in the second over some off the field issues that may not even be for real. Boss man Fat is a day one guy. Now they're gonna have to fight over the nickel spot, but that ain't boss man Fat's job. So
yeah, that's not him. Space, man, you think that boss man Fat, aka Kelvin Joseph, that's funny that he's aka his real name, who's only played 15 college games, he's coming in starting day one, or they're gonna work him in? Buy or sell, they're starting day one.
Oh, I'm buying that. I think he's going to be the guy that's on the field, whoever the hell we play when the schedule comes out. Then I can say, oh, we're playing those guys.
I think apparently Tampa, but that's another.
Okay, yeah, it's all right. But no, I'm buying it because the way I look at it is that a lot of these corners, I mean, I'm not trying to be like this, but some of them are expensive. Aside from maybe Diggs, maybe I don't know about Jordan, but I think Anthony Brown's on the chopping block next, and I think you're going to see him get canned because of the cap space. Again, with Steven's precious cap space, he's going to be the next cap casualty once camp is over, and he's going to be on the final 53. I do believe that he will be fine. I think that as long as he's a starter, he can be better acclimated. I think that if you're taking guys in the first 3 rounds, you need to give them playing time. Especially if you're using pick 44 on this guy. The off the field things, from what I've seen and from what I heard, you can get over that. Like, that's not something like it's like, okay, whatever. The guy's going to be an A1 starter, and he's going to end up doing a lot better than some of these other guys you have in your cornerback room. So the way I look at it, hey, you know what? Give this guy a starter and get him some reps so that he can be very damn good alongside Diggs.
He raps, but he raps better than Cole Beasley. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, it's B. It's Brandon.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Brandon, go ahead, man. What you think about Boss Man Fat? You think he's going to come in day one start by himself?
Who's going to take his spot? Reggie Robinson?
Yeah.
Anthony Brown?
Yeah.
Jordan Lewis in a scheme that prioritizes height? I'm buying this heavily as well. I'm buying this heavily as well. Like, give me it all. I'm buying the dips. Enough said, man. I mean, I don't care if there's a threat of violence. Hire more security if you're really scared.
Everybody real fast Google Robin Harris, then look at Brandon, then look back at Google, then look back at Brandon, then look back at Google. He's the dad from Bebe's Kids and House Party and Harlem Nights. Go ahead.
Buy or sell Kelvin Joseph day one.
I buy because their corner room still sucks.
Yeah,
I mean, if he's not starting, it means that they're throwing Anthony Brown outside. Like, that's his only competition, is if Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis and Trevon Diggs are the three starters. But, man, we're talking about a dude who just drafted Manute Bol and Sean Bradley to play corner. Like, he ain't trying to put his 5'9", 5'10" guys on the outside. So those two – I kind of feel bad for Jordan Lewis because this is his fifth chance to beat out Anthony Brown for the slot role, and he's 0 for 4. Maybe Dan Quinn will let him, but yeah, Kelvin Joseph is going to start because we've seen what else is on the depth chart. You're talking about Maurice Kennedy, who is an opt-out. You're talking about Rashard Robinson, who sucks. You're talking about Savion Smith, who sucks. You're talking, and let me say this because it's people hear what you say about him.
Yes, they do.
I want you to know when I say sucks,
they suck, man.
I mean relative. You are much better than me. You're an incredible football player. You are in the National Football League. Relative to people who start, their corners are awful. Kelvin Joseph he's starting by default. And I like him. I love him. I would start him and I want some more of him. There's a country song for you. But yeah, their corner room is awful still.
And that's really what it is. And Voch touched on it, and then Jeff just pretty much hammered it home. There's no Darryl Worley. There's no Nolan Carroll. There's no guys like that coming in, which, in my opinion, I still think we do need to bring some type of veteran, just not any veteran, right?
Well, not a Nolan. They tried that route, Sky, and they sucked.
And then that's an evaluation problem because there were good veteran cornerbacks in free agency that you could have draft or you could have signed that wouldn't have pigeonholed you into the draft. Nonetheless, go ahead, Voch.
Question. Voch says this right now, buy or sell. Richard Sherman comes. This ain't even buy or sell, but Richard Sherman comes in. I know my answer. Who do you start, Boss Man Fat or Richard Sherman? I got my answer right now. Go. Somebody go. Richard Sherman.
I would start Kelvin Joseph, but you're talking about Dan Quinn. He starts Richard Sherman.
Brandon.
So, give me Boss Man. Boss Man. Instantly.
Man, don't bring in Sherman. Get Boss Man Fat his reps.
I think it's messy right now. It's a wrap. Just start your young guys. You know what I'm saying? You were supposed to go get that veteran cornerback before the draft to establish, but no. Just start Boss Man, start Trevin, and deal with the lumps.
Of course you start.
I'm a veteran guy. I want to get a good veteran corner, but those good veteran corners are gone.
They need to fix the NFL. They need to have the draft before free agency.
Yeah. All right, man. This is the last part of the buy or sell. And let me tell you all the point system right now. B is 11 points. Jeff has 13. Voch 13. Space 11. So it's tight.
I should have 26 points, dog. You cheat.
I'm gonna start using the sound effect when it's my turn. That'll give me points. I can tell.
Are you gonna see? Don't do that because I like that sound effect. See, here they go. All right, listen. Dan Quinn dropped kind of a sort of a bomb, if you want to call it that, Cowboys Nation during his interview. Now, for me and for a couple other people, we were kind of cautioning people, hey, don't go too far for 3. If you go back and look, and I got to credit John Oney. He started this back in January that made me go look. If you go kind of look, he's done some 3-4 concepts in the front 7. He's not just this pure 4-3 guy. And in his interview, he stated, I had to do a 180 or 360 or whatever the hell it is on myself and go look at tape from 2013 to 2020 and kind of figure out what worked in both of those systems and implement it. And they use the term multiple a lot, like multiple. That's just what keeps being said over the last 2 years. So my thing is buy or sell Dan Quinn's version of the multiple defense over Mike Nolan. So buy or sell, and Brandon, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I've seen this movie before. Mike Nolan said the same thing last year. But shouldn't we just call the nickel the base defense now?
That's what I've said, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Mike Nolan said the exact same thing last year, and we ended up with what was the worst defense in franchise history. So I believe him to see it. But if you look at the way he coached his defenses in Seattle and Atlanta, they had components of the 3-4 and the 4-3. So I guess you can kind of base it on how you view that. Then it's more about the techniques, alignments, assignments, and fronts that allows for guys to play.
Indeed. Jeff, you buy or sell this Dan Quinn hybrid? I don't even know, multiple hybrid, whatever the hell they want to do. Hopefully we know by season's end.
I buy it because I think they have the pieces for it, and I think there's a massive, massive, massive difference between Mike Nolan and Dan Quinn. And right now, all we can judge off is what we can judge off. And so right now, all I can do is listen to Dan Quinn, and this is coming from somebody who has to listen to Mike McCarthy all the time. And Mike McCarthy, if he's up there and they ask Jerry 2 questions and Steven 1, and there's been 3 questions and none of them went to McCarthy, he's kind of sleeping. Like he falls asleep, and then they're like, "Coach, who's on the roster?" And he's like, "Is that for me?" So like he's a gym coach. But Dan Quinn, like, that's a coach. That's a teacher.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And you look at there's a reason they hadn't let Dan Quinn talk until the one time that they did, and it's because he actually tells us things. Like Mike McCarthy just speaks in generalities. Dan Quinn is telling us, look, there's going to come a time where I'm going to figure out, you're going to want to know, what's Keanu Neal doing? I'll tell you. Let me get him on the field. I'll tell you what's Jabril Cox doing. Like, let me figure out exactly where these guys are going to be. Micah Parsons is going to line up as an outside linebacker that rushes the passer. Micah Parsons is going to line up as a nickel linebacker that's off the ball. He has all these interchangeable pieces. Chauncey Golston. I mean, one of the only guys who's not multiple is Bohanna, the 6th rounder. That man is going to line up, slap over the center.
That's what he told you.
Not move. Okay, that's what he's going to do. He's not going to move. But guys like Osa and Golston and Basham and Carlos Watkins, those are guys that can play a head up on a tackle 5 technique in a 3-4. They can play interior and play a 3 technique. They have the pieces to do it, and I don't think that's on accident. They have guys that can play in multiple different alignments, multiple different shades, and it's on purpose. And Dan Quinn can coach, and Mike Nolan sucks. So yeah, I believe in Dan.
Oh, fire! I mean, I might give you a point for saying Mike Nolan sucks. I'll give you a point because Dan Quinn absolutely, I feel like, can coach. So I'll give you that. Voch.
It's all about usage, man. So I'm 100% buying. Like we said earlier, you just got to be a little bit better than the boy Mike Nolan. Don't get hot sauce in your eyes and all that little nonsense, right? So when we talk about like what we're going to use, I don't think there's going to be one formation. It's just going to be usage, and it's going to be sets, right? And that's up to Dan Quinn. Don't ask guys to do things that they're not going to be very good at, right? Nation, right? Don't be out here covering the nickel. Randy Gregory, you shouldn't be two gapping people. Brent Urban, you shouldn't be like a pass rushy kind of guy. So it doesn't matter what happens, right? It doesn't matter, what we're going to run. Just put guys in their best suited position. Now, that's the difference between like flexing guys in different places, because Brent Urban can play all up and down the line, 1, 2, 3, and 5. So can Osa, so can Chauncey. So use those guys, be multiple, and I think having that kind of multiple can be better for game planning versus other teams, right? What are they going to do when we run this one out or this one out? I think something, something about Dan Quinn is that if he uses something different every week, not something like absolutely like, oh, we're just doing this totally, but different looks every single week. Mike Nolan was the same thing every single week. I think we have enough guys to where we can be not only multiple in looks, but multiple in peoples that's playing with those spots, man. So I'm excited, man. Just be better than Nolan. That's it.
Just be better. You know what you was preaching last year? Just be better than Jason Garrett. So we just need.
And he couldn't do it.
I don't know. I mean, given all the circumstances, do we believe Jason Garrett goes 6-10 without Dak Prescott?
Unknown.
I don't even want to answer that question, man. I don't even want to.
McCarthy is on probation. McCarthy is on probation.
You're absolutely
everybody
right.
that hates him, I can't prove that he's no good, and everybody that loves him, I can't prove that he's good. He's on probation.
That's true. But I do know that Jason Garrett has won, I believe, 1 or 2 games without Dak or Tony.
Oh, he's awful. He's awful. There's a reason
tough.
the Giants offense was awful, and the Giants offense is going to be awful again, and it's because of Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett is playing for a 51-yard field goal. That's his dream.
Yeah, you know how they say, who's stopping this offense? Daniel Jones, Saquon, Jason Garrett is stopping this offense. That's who's stopping.
Can I say one more thing before we move on to Carter, though?
No.
Sky, this is your show. What you play? Because I was about to.
Mute! Go ahead, Space!
Okay, so I'm buying this mainly due to the fact that as we look at how the Cowboys approached it this offseason, when we were going into the 2020 offseason, we were kind of like, okay, well, we saw what they did in 2018, 19. Maybe we could just shift a couple things. That's what Mike Nolan's a complete idiot. The only reason he got hired was because he's buddy with Mike McCarthy. Let's just be frank. So to start off with that, then we finally get a situation where it's like, well, half these players are terrible, and you can't really evaluate them properly. Some of them, mainly due to the fact that, well, I almost said Mike McCarthy. Mike Nolan sucks. Yeah. But with this draft and with Dan Quinn's experience, and this is why he differentiates from Mike Nolan as well, is that Dan Quinn has been in situations where when you give him his guys, his defenses are successful. I understand people want to do this revisionist history, like, oh, Atlanta's defense sucked. That's not true, mainly due to the fact that those guys got hurt so damn much that you couldn't really evaluate them properly, similar to that of what we experienced in 2020. Now that Dan Quinn had a game plan going into this draft, the Cowboys gave him the players so that he can get those ingredients to cook up something special. And again, we're not asking him to be best defensive coordinator type stuff. Yeah. Just be better than last year, and you're a playoff team. Okay? And I am more confident with Dan Quinn because of his resume. More importantly, seeing what he likes and making that work. Again, I'm still a guy that's a wait and see it type of guy, but I would rather have someone say, hey, listen, you know what? I understand that I had these issues back then and I decided to redo this, that, and a third. Sure, you could say that. But when you go into specifics, I like that. And I preferred that over Mike Nolan. Mike Nolan was just like, we're just doing this hybrid crap. And I'm like, well, I don't know exactly what you're trying to do here. Like, what are you going to do with these guys? I understand.
Players didn't know either.
Yeah, the players didn't know either. But the thing is that with Dan Quinn, I understand he can't go into full-on specifics because, hey, you don't want to give away your game plan.
He was about to.
But I can see what he's trying to get at. And ultimately, I hope that it's going to be okay. But I think with this draft, we'll be fine.
Did y'all see the interview? Rich had to tell him, hey, Dan, wrap it up. He's like, what? Enough. All right, let me tell you about Osa real quick. Let me tell you about Benny. I call him Benny, but Bohanna. Rich was like, no, let's go. You saying
Rich got some other stuff Rich going to have to worry about.
Way too much going on. We have to talk about that, Jeff. You're saying way too much. But for us, it's for content creators, for fans, we love this. Okay, because we don't know what's going on. All we hear is McCarthy coming out saying the same things, right? Which, as a coach, play it close to the vest. But you can tell, like Jeff was saying, this guy's a teacher. This man is ready to get at it, and I think he's going to get the best out of a couple of guys like Osa, and I call him Benny Hanna, but Benny Bohanna, big fella. And yes, like all you guys have said, they are getting the pieces for Dan Quinn's our defense, and I don't think that was necessarily the case last year from Mike Nolan. Nonetheless, it didn't matter. His, whatever you want to call it, hybrid, multiple, it didn't work. And it didn't work for a number of reasons. When you look at the multiple for Dan Quinn and the multiple for Nolan, I think he was confusing both the front end and the back end. The front end with their fits was awful. I mean, it was ridiculous. You were lining up the defensive end in this wide 9 type of thing, just creating a gap for no reason whatsoever. And then on the back end, the coverage schemes were, I don't know what they were. I mean, and you can't tell me that the Daryl Worleys and these other guys were that bad, because they weren't that bad the previous year. So I felt like you had confusion from both ends of the spectrum in regards to front and back. And we watched Dan Quinn, his coverage schemes isn't really difficult. They're pretty basic. Where he's going to be multiple is mostly in the front 7. And if those guys can just get it right up front, it's going to help them in the back. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sky forgot he was hosting for a minute. He just wanted to make a point.
I did.
Forgot, and then they got real quiet, and he was like, oh, crap, I'm the one who has to tell who to talk.
I did.
Give yourself a point, Sky. Give yourself a point.
Yeah, Sky gets a point.
I'm gonna give myself water. Showdown. Skywalker Steele versus everybody. Nah, all right, man. This is the showdown. And B, you got 13, Jeff 17, Voch 16, Space 13. So it's Voch versus Jeff. It's probably because Voch and Jeff just hogged up the mic. But Voch and Jeff for the showdown.
Go ahead.
So,
Brandon and Space, stick around. Y'all, Space, you know how we do. You stick around for the showdown. You don't go nowhere. You guys can interject at any point when you want to. Just going to give the points to the guys that are heading up. So let's get this thing popping, man. It's Scoutcast. This ain't so now it's Scoutcast versus Scoutcast. This ain't no we buddy on the same show. Now I got to put the gloves on or take the gloves off. Depends how you want to do it.
Say when.
Oh, the hell you go? So Voch just dipped.
He conceded.
I'll take his place. I'll take his place.
Whoa.
We'll take his place. Don't worry.
Here we go. We back.
He conceded. He conceded. You all saw it.
The weather's bad. Outside. Let's do this.
Oh, okay.
I have to beat the shit out of Jeff. Jeff want me to quit. Let's go.
No, what happened there, man? All right, showdown, man. Let's do this thing. Let's get it on. All right, more likely. Now Space is going. More likely to make the team. And we got like a League of Nations of names with these guys. Semi Fehoko or Israel Mukuamu. More likely to make the team. Jeff, go.
Simi Fehoko is more likely to make this team because you know how you make a football team if you're going to be at the end of the roster? The way you make a football team is playing special teams. Yeah. And Simi Fehoko is a special teams demon. He'll be a gunner on your punt team. He will block kicks. He will do everything you could possibly ask him to do on special teams. He's built for it. And on top of that, he comes with the bonus of if you want to play him at receiver, he's a big body who can run, so he can be a vertical threat to complement your offense. Simi has the better chance to make this team. And I don't even have to talk for a long time to make some badass points.
There goes Space. Watch, Simi or Israel Mukuamu?
I'll tell you why it's Semi, but I'm going to give you a better reason.
I already said Semi. Give me another point.
But I'm going to give you another reason why it's Semi. Because Israel got to beat 7 people. He got to beat 7 people that all play corner. They all kind of play safety, and they're all cheap, just like him. Semi just got to show up and be better and cheaper than Noah Brown. Noah Brown makes a little bit more than Semi. Stephen Jones said, hey, we're trying to get these cheap young people to come in and whoop up on him. Then Noah Brown is the bigger receiver, the bigger I can block, be vertical guy. Semi's that dude also. I don't see a reason why Semi won't make the team and Noah's gonna walk. Israel can blend in with the rest of these tall corners that's on the team, like the 99th pick overall, Nashawn Wright. So it is what it is. Which one you like more? Go ahead.
By the way, Cedric is the one who better have his head on a swivel. Noah Brown makes less than $1 million. Cedric Wilson makes over $2 million. Cedric Wilson better get his head on a swivel.
That's a good point.
And they say Israel's going to play safety, so that actually, this is against my own point, but yes. Israel could have a chance because they really got no damn safeties. None.
Voch, you better get in on this, Voch.
I tell you why Cedric ain't going nowhere. Get that goddamn button ready. Cedric ain't going nowhere because Bones Foster want to do all that trick play shit, and Cedric Wilson can throw the football. Noah Brown can't throw the football. Give me my point, Scott. Give me my point.
I'll give you a point. I'll give you a point. But Jeff made a better point about the money. He's right.
What's up now?
I said money first, Scott. You ain't listening.
Right, but so you got it backwards, Voch.
Yeah, but you said Noah.
You got it backwards. You got it backwards. Listen. Noah's sponsor is Bones. Cedric's sponsor ain't Bones.
Noah not gonna be here. Noah is not more important than Cedric. So all Semi got to do is be more important than Noah. Correct?
He got to be more important than both. One of the two.
Because I would say this also, Noah had more of a role in the Jason Garrett thing just to come in and be predictable wide receiver blocker guy. They not doing this with Mike and Kellen, so that's even more reason Noah's not going to be here. For even more reason why Semi's going to take his spot.
But Steven's going to weigh in and go, wait, Noah makes $985,000 and Cedric makes $2.1 million. I can have an extra 1.2. What am I going to do with it? Jack shit, but I'm going to have it, so that's fun.
And they both
jack shit until you do that to 5 other people. Then that's $5 million. Go ahead.
And they both made strides as receivers last year. Both of them. That's why this is really intriguing because I'm going to give the nod to Noah because of special teams. He can gun, he can play a kickoff, punt return, coverage, all that stuff. He just does it, and he's physical in the receiving game. But the money, man, it just is what it is with Stephen Jones. That money is real. He looks at 2.5 or whatever it is for Cedric, and it might be him. And I think that Semi's going to be more athletic than both of those guys, so it's going to be a dogfight for those out of those 3 receivers. But nobody talked about the safety room until Jeff said something.
Now here's the thing, though.
You ain't even in this.
No, he said that I can interject. So I'm gonna take the opportunity.
Oh, okay, go
Go ahead. Ain't get no
Y'all
points.
don't tell me that y'all are rooting for Israel, though, because the DB room is so bad. That should be the most important thing. This DB room is naked as Amber Rose during the slut ball. Y'all should be rooting for him for that point alone.
Here's another reason why Izzy not going to be safety, because Donovan's there. If Keanu doesn't work at linebacker, he's there. Everybody forgot about J-Ron Kearse. He's there. He's there. So where are we going to fit Izzy?
No, because the question isn't any of those guys. The question is free safety. You know who's playing free safety? A dude who tore his Achilles like 7 months ago, and that's it.
Not Izzy. Izzy not playing no damn free safety.
He not?
Yes, that's what they're going to try.
I think he is. I think that's what
he's going to be. He's the safety that they think that he's going to. They think that they want, but I mean, I think
Jordan Lewis is the free safety you really want.
Hey, he ain't lying there.
I mean, I don't even know if he's the free safety we want. He's the free safety we kind of need because they put themselves in that corner.
That's right. Let me rephrase. Jordan Lewis may not be the free safety you want, but he may be the free safety you need.
Be the one you got.
Because, gentlemen, if KZ starts on the PUP list, we in trouble over there. Okay.
They are expecting to have their starting free safety with no backup and hold on. They think that they can sign a free safety for damn near league minimum. That's going to be off a torn Achilles only 10 months when the season starts, and that's okay.
He ain't lying.
That's what they think.
He ain't lying. We don't want to get into this because people are talking about moving other players to safety. Listen, just draft a safety. It's that simple.
They tried. They got jumped. They were going to take Merrick.
I don't believe that.
No, they weren't.
Jeff?
Yes, they were.
Oh.
You could tell because, look, Steven's a liar, but he starts to tell the truth before he remembers that he has to lie. And after day 2, he was giggling about the safety thing. He's like, well, obviously, at the end of the day, we tried again, and no, it just didn't work out. Got close a couple of times. And they're like, oh, was those couple of times when somebody jumped you for Merrick? Oh, they'd like to think so. He remembered and started lying again. Trevon Merrick was going to be a Cowboy.
I love the accent. Listen, man, it's been 20 years since they drafted a safety in the top 2 rounds, so I believe it next time I see it is how I look at it. All right, man, this is it. This is for all the marbles. What position needs to be addressed post-draft? Voch Lombardi.
Shit, head coach, because Mike McCarthy still ain't proven it to me yet. He still want to run Terrence Steele out there when everybody says Brandon Knight. He still want to run Jared Thompson out there. He still want to do all this tomfoolery, all this little mess. Mike McCarthy is on notice. Besides that, I think we pretty straight. I think we ready to win the Super Bowl today. Tell me why we not.
Voch.
Sir.
Or in your voice. But Voch. And I'm being serious now. So I can't even do that voice.
Yes, sir.
You think we straight across the board?
Hell yeah, we straight because Scott, we got 4.
Oh, I gotta give you one for that.
We got 4.
I gotta give you one for that.
Everybody else just look, we got 4. We're gonna be a little bit healthier than we were last. This something that we're not gonna realize. Mm-hmm. The healthier we get, the more spots just gonna run out. So we got guys on D line like Tristan just gonna show up one day. And we're gonna go, damn, we do have Tristan on this team, and damn, we do got Neville on the team. To where we will have to rely on guys like Justin Hamilton last year. Them guys ain't gonna be there. So now our backup guys are better than our first team guys last year. I think we're gonna be much better on defense, and we ain't gotta be elite on defense. We just gotta be 19th. We don't. That's 19th, and we'll be all right. Super Bowl.
Jeff. What position still needs to be addressed?
I have created a depth chart of the players at free safety who are not coming off of a torn Achilles.
That's hilarious.
I don't see any. I don't see anybody.
Nothing's on there.
Because we don't have any.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's because we don't have any.
Donovan plays free.
Donovan.
Man, come on, man.
No. I mean, I get it.
I'm gonna tell you. I know people need to hear this. People need to hear this about Donovan Wilson.
Press it, Jeff.
Press the button. Press the button,
Jeff.
Donovan Wilson is smart, instinctual, makes plays on the ball. Donovan Wilson can't cover me. I will rout Donovan Wilson's ass up tomorrow.
Wait a goddamn minute.
So you better chill out with acting like Donovan Wilson can play free safety.
Stop cutting this shit off. He ain't mean that. Stop cutting this shit off. He ain't mean that. Jeff,
don't act like he can play free safety.
If they watching this right now, stop that shit, Jeff.
I like Donovan Wilson. He's a nice player. This is one of those things where Cowboys get so excited because they found a player they weren't expecting to find, and now he's a Pro Bowler and he can play anywhere. Donovan Wilson is a half-field safety or a down safety that can make plays. The Cowboys do not have a free safety. The dude they're paying free safety right now got 10% of the guaranteed money of Clinton Dix a year ago, and that dude didn't make it out of camp. This dude got 10% of the money of a dude who couldn't make it out of camp last year, and we're pretending free safety's fine.
See, that's why I gotta give you 2 points because you fumbled the opportunity, Voch. That was a layup.
Hit the button, Jeff. Hit the button, Jeff. Fucking Donovan can't cover me neither. Then shit. If he can't cover Jeff, he can't cover me neither. Just like that. Yeah. Like that.
Come on, man.
Listen, I'm not supposed to be helping my opponent in the showdown, but
you kind of are a little bit. I
lost already.
Voch went the Super Bowl route. We ready. We don't need nothing. We got 4, and I respect you for that. But if we being honest, we are bare at safety.
I wasn't lying.
Being real, bare, and I thought that was a little bit of layup. I would have.
I clearly beat Voch, but if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, then we'll retroactively make Voch the champ.
Come on.
This is true. So Jeff did basically just give it away here. Jeff, you are the winner of Around the Nation on this episode 4. So FaceTime Jeff Cavanaugh. And you can press the button if you want. I love that button.
Oh, no, I don't really have anything to say. Here, shout out to, this is my Doc Holliday poster, Say When, from the movie Tombstone. And as you can see, it's just pencil on cardboard, pencil and pen, done by my buddy Ziggy, who I used to play Fortnite with. If you want to buy his artwork, at One and Only Ziggy on Twitter.
That was a hell of a FaceTime. Shout out to Ziggy. All right, we're going to go down the line and sign off here. Brandon, man, from Frankly Football, let everybody know where they can find you and just sign off.
All right. Like Scott said, I am Brandon, one half of Frankly Football. You can find me on YouTube,
a.k.a.
Frankly Football.
Please go for Robin Harris, please.
I'm sorry, Voch ruined it for you, B. I'm never going to be able to look at you ever again when I'm thinking about Robin Harris.
This guy is going to post-production the shit out of you and put some Robin Harris.
I should have known you was in here. I saw the dripping from the driveway. You know something with that Jerry curl you got on your head, you better not ever do a crime. Police never had no problem finding you. Follow the drip. Follow the drip.
This is only because I don't like having a beard. I can grow a full beard. I just don't like keeping it.
Oh, good.
You got the mustache. It's like Robin
the
Harris.
mustache.
I didn't even notice that.
That's what I'm saying. My bad, B. I interrupted you. Sign off. I'm sorry, sir. Finish the show.
So you can find me on YouTube at Frankly Football and on Twitter at Frankly. That's FranklyFootball, the number 1.
RESPECTR. Yeah, man. But nah, B, really, y'all could hear it today. He was dropping some stuff, man. Good follow, good football knowledge. He's a frequent flyer over on Voch's show. And speaking of Voch, sign off, Voch.
Right brick on my brick, VOCHLOMBARDI. Jeff also has a black friend named Pookie. Y'all can follow me on YouTube and Twitter and all that good stuff. I'm currently breaking down film.
Oh, Pookie's Mexican.
That's even better. I'm breaking down all the draft prospects or whatnot. So if you're looking for film, I do it over there. And at some point, I'm gonna get into the undrafted free agent. Y'all, please stop hyping TJ Vasher every year. Y'all love some new undrafted wide receiver. Just relax, all right? But yeah. Scott, appreciate it. And if y'all want this hoodie, if y'all want my my right brick on my brick hoodie, I have a link, shop.spreadshirt.com/shop Lombardi. Shop.spreadshirt.com/shop Lombardi. Rewind it if you need to. Appreciate it, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Space Cowboy.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, Sky, for having me on once again. Voch, Jeff, Brandon, you guys do fantastic work for this community. I mean, the best in the business. Even though Voch did that Danny Dimes, he had a wide open touchdown but tripped at the end.
That's enough. That's enough. More.
Had to do it. But no, man, this is fantastic. You guys can find me at Space Cowboy 17 on YouTube or S Cowboy 17 on Twitter. Always trying to keep it real as always.
Yeah, Space is the veteran of Around the Nation. You about to turn into like the Woody Page or whatever. You know how he was always on Around the Horn. Shout out to Around the Horn, by the way. Concept from that. I used to love that show growing up. But man, listen, y'all. I appreciate you guys. Like Space said, y'all are the best, man. At what you guys do, Brandon, Jeff,
I don't
Voch,
think you let me
Space.
sign off, Sky, and that's kind of messed up.
Didn't you just sign off, Jeff?
You was on
I just did a
FaceTime, sir.
No,
You're right.
I just did the FaceTime that I
You're right.
earned. That doesn't mean I don't get to sign off.
You're right, Shawn Michaels. Go ahead.
Diva.
Okay. Now, I don't really have a sign off. Just
Do you see what I'm saying?
Say it again. Say something. Oh!
Why you on mute him? Why you on mute him, guy? Shit.
I just muted him.
I could get fired from radio any day of the week. It's probably coming soon. So just make sure you follow my YouTube page.
Jeff.
When I get fired, that's where my stuff is going to be. And now I'm going to get this picture centered and hopefully a little lower.
Will
so
you
I can get
say
the
Jeff
camera angle.
Kavanaugh on YouTube, please? Will you?
Yeah, youtube.com/Jeff Cavanaugh, JC105 on Twitter.
He is one half of Scoutcast. What are you doing, Jeff?
One half of Scoutcast.
He's like,
Please follow
done.
all these
I'm done.
amazing
And listen
gentlemen.
to 105 through the fan.
Oh, yeah, 2 to
Friday,
7 on the fan. Home of the Cowboys. And DallasCowboys.com.
This is what Jeff was doing prior to the show. That's why I said if y'all can see it behind the scenes, we were dealing with B/Robin Harris and Jeff. This was just a fantastic, fun show, though. But had some fun, and in between it, sandwich in between it, was some good actual Cowboys knowledge and football and draft knowledge. So make sure y'all run this thing back if you haven't. And
Got to break out the level. You know, you got to break out the level here.
You finally broke out the level? You know what? Let me just go ahead. We going
Boom.
to
Because
sign
if you
this
don't
thing
hit
off.
that
Because if I don't hit the button, we just going to be sitting here. And this is the different button. All right, man. Around the Nation, episode 4. Running back on all platforms. Appreciate you. Peace.